Today, we are talking about something huge, a discovery that might just turn our entire understanding of dementia on its head. It's a detective story, really, that starts with something incredibly simple, sugar, and could lead to a brand new way of protecting our brains.
Okay, so let's just get right into the central mystery, the one that has frustrated scientists for decades. Why don't we have a cure for dementia? We have poured billions and billions of dollars into research, yet a solution always seems just out of reach. This is the puzzle we're going to try and piece together today.
So, before we get to the big breakthrough, we really have to understand the opponent. We have to appreciate just how complex this problem is. What exactly are we dealing with when we say the word dementia?
Right. First things first, dementia isn't one single disease. You got to think of it more like an umbrella term. It covers a whole range of symptoms, memory loss, confusion, that gets so bad they mess with daily life. And at the root of it all is one thing, damage to the nerve cells in our brain.
And if you look at the breakdown, you can see why this is so tricky. Sure, Alzheimer's is the big one. It's the giant piece of the pie, making up as much as 80% of all cases. But it's not the whole story. That other 20 to 40%, those are caused by other things, and that's a huge part of this puzzle.
And this is exactly why a one-size-fits-all cure is so incredibly hard to find. Each type of dementia has a different villain. With Alzheimer's, you've got these infamous plaques and tangles. Vascular dementia, that's all about damage to the brain's blood supply. Lewy body dementia has its own unique protein clumps. They're all fundamentally different problems at the most basic cellular level.
All right, but this is where the plot thickens. This is where our detective story takes a really unexpected turn. In the search for clues, researchers stumbled upon a surprising culprit, something we all have in our kitchens: sugar. It turns out the way the brain handles sugar might be one of the most important clues we've ever found.
So in a healthy brain, sugar is stored in a form called glycogen. The best way to think about it is like a backup fuel tank in your car. When your brain cells need a sudden burst of energy, they dip into this glycogen reserve. It's a totally normal, totally essential process for a healthy brain.
Now, the key here is where this backup fuel is stored. Normally, it's kept safe and sound inside these amazing support cells called astrocytes. They act like a pantry for the main nerve cells, the neurons. Whenever a neuron needs energy, the astrocyte provides it. It's a perfect, efficient little system.
But in some forms of dementia, this whole system goes haywire. The glycogen, that sugar fuel, somehow gets trapped inside the main nerve cells themselves. And once it's locked in there, it's no longer useful fuel. Instead, it transforms from a source of energy into a toxic burden, stressing the cell out and helping to push it towards destruction.
Finding this trapped sugar was a massive step forward, but it immediately led to the next million-dollar question. Okay, so if it's trapped, is there a way to get it out? And this, right here, is where the hero of our story finally makes its appearance. Scientists found an enzyme that just might be the key to springing this sugar trap.
And here it is. Scientists zeroed in on one specific enzyme. It's called glycogen phosphorylase.
Yeah, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, so we're just going to call it GLIP for short.
And its job is incredibly important. It breaks down glycogen.
So, to put it simply, glyfolate is the key. It's the one thing that can get inside that neuron, find that toxic sugar buildup, and just start breaking it apart. It directly attacks the exact problem that we just identified.
But wait, because this is where the story gets even more amazing. Activating this enzyme doesn't just clean up the mess. No, it actually kicks off this incredible protective chain reaction inside the cell. It's like flipping a switch that turns on the cell's own defense systems.
Okay, let's just walk through this beautiful biological process. First, GLUP gets in there and breaks down the trapped sugar. Then, the sugar gets rerouted down a totally different path. And this is the brilliant part. This new path creates a super important molecule called NADPH. Think of it like the battery pack that powers up the cell's defenses. That NADPH then goes and activates the brain's master antioxidant, a thing called glutathione. And the end result, the neuron is protected from stress, and the buildup of that toxic tau protein, the bad guy from Alzheimer's, actually goes down.
So the biology is elegant, the theory is beautiful, but does it actually work? I mean, what's the evidence? Let's take a look at the experiments and, more importantly, what this all means for the future.
The results, frankly, are stunning. In fruit flies that were engineered to have a form of dementia,
Turning on this GLP enzyme improved their memory and learning. It even made them live longer. But here's the kicker. They tested it on human neurons taken from patients with dementia, and it worked there too, reducing that toxic tau protein. That's the link. That connects the lab to the real world.
So what does this all mean for us? It means we're looking at way more than just a cool science fact. This is a genuinely new strategy for fighting this disease. It gives researchers a completely new and very specific target to aim for when developing future treatments.
And this opens up some really exciting doors. We're talking about lifestyle changes like intermittent fasting, which might naturally kickstart this process. We're talking about developing brand new drugs that could flip on that glypans enzyme directly. And maybe one of the most exciting avenues is looking at existing drugs, like some of those incredibly popular diabetes and weight loss drugs, to see if they could be repurposed to help the brain handle sugar better.
And that leaves us with one last, really powerful question to think about. For so long, the focus has been on plaques and tangles. But what if a key to saving our brains has been hiding in plain sight all along, in something as fundamental as our metabolism? Could rethinking how we, as a society, deal with sugar be one of the most important things we ever do for our long-term brain health? It's a question that might just change everything.